Juliette hired 5 different realtors in a row. Now, I'm the first to say that there's no shortage of bad realtors in the world, but 5? I was introduced to her not too long ago, and at the time, she was looking to hire her 6th. And then this might not surprise you, but the realtors weren't the problem. But here's the crazy thing, neither was Juliette. At least not completely. The biggest mistake in this story wasn't made by any of those 5 realtors, but it was actually made by 2019 Juliette, 7 years before she needed to sell. That's what this video is about. I'm a realtor and I want to put that on the table right now because it matters. I work with sellers and buyers. I sit across from sellers at dining room tables all the time. And I have these conversations for a living. And like every realtor who takes this work seriously, I try and get better at it every day. But here's the thing. Even the best realtor in the world cannot make your home something that it's not. We cannot give you a price the market can't or won't pay. But this video isn't about realtors, this video is for homeowners. Specifically, it's for the homeowner who's not planning on selling anytime soon. Like our friend 2019 Juliette. Because some of those people are making colossally bad decisions right now, and they probably won't regret it today. They might not even regret it tomorrow. But one day, maybe 7 years from now, life is going to change. And when it does, and you decide to sell, these decisions are going to come back to haunt you. I promise you. Think of me as a realtor who has a time machine. I'm here from the future, and I want to save you money. This is the first video in a series called the Time Traveling Realtor, and in every video in this series is about different mistakes that homeowners make, decisions that feel completely reasonable at the time, and only reveal themselves as problems when it's time to sell. There's a lot of meat on this bone, so let's get going. Why the money you spend on your home doesn't always come back. So here's what happened to Juliette, and honestly, it's what's happened to me and what happens to almost all homeowners. When you buy a house, you think like a buyer, you are acutely aware of value. You are sensitive to overpaying, as you should be. You walk through every home with a critical lens. But then something shifts. You move in, time passes, and you don't think about selling. And why should you? It's your home. And the way you see your house completely changes. Now you're not thinking about resale, you're solving for today. The kitchen that feels cramped, the bathroom that's dated, etc. And that's not wrong per se. Your home is where life happens. Of course you want it to work for you. The problem is that you've lost the lens. The one that saw the house the way every future buyer will see it. And here's what makes it worse. Nobody in the room is going to give it back to you. Not your friends, not your contractor, and not your designer. And they're not being malicious, they're just following orders. Your orders. And by the way, the more extravagant the renovation, the more they get paid. The only person who might pump the brakes is maybe you from the future that plans to sell. Or better yet, your future realtor. That's the trap. It's not greed or stupidity, just a completely natural process of becoming a homeowner instead of a buyer or a seller. So I met Juliette. She invited our team to come see her home. It was a great home. She gave us a tour, but then we get to the kitchen, and it was stunning. I mean, genuinely magazine quality stunning. Custom cabinets, high-end appliances, and the kind of countertops that make you want to rub your hands on them just to feel them. She spent $80,000 on it back in 2019, and she was beaming with pride, as she should be. And eventually she told me what she wanted to sell the house for. And I told her what buyers would be willing to pay. And I know she'd had this conversation many times before, but at the end of the day, it came back to a sort of denial. How could I have put so much money into my house and genuinely made it better just to have buyers be so stingy? And this is one of the hardest conversations in real estate. And the reason why, the actual mechanics of how this works, is something that almost no homeowner understands until they're sitting across the kitchen table from someone like me. And that's years too late. So let me explain it to you now. You see, when a buyer's lender sends someone out to put a number on your house, that person doesn't start with the kitchen. They start with what other houses on your street sold for. Houses like yours, same age, same size, same general location. And this is key. What did the market actually pay for those? In the industry, we'll call them comps. And that number, what your neighborhood has demonstrated it will support, then becomes the gravitational force on your house. And it doesn't yet matter what's inside. So when Juliette spent $80,000 on a kitchen in a neighborhood where houses sell for $600,000, she didn't raise the ceiling to $680,000. She spent $80,000 below that ceiling. The ceiling didn't move. She just spent a lot of money underneath it. But there's something even more damaging than overspending on one room, and that's overspending on one room while leaving the entire rest of the house untouched. They don't think, great kitchen, manageable bathroom, they think something's wrong with the house. They can feel the imbalance before they can name it. The stunning kitchen doesn't lift the bathroom actually drags down the kitchen. The weakest room becomes the story, not the strongest one. And Juliette, who put $80,000 into the kitchen, had actually made this worse. Because now the contrast was impossible to ignore. Here's the truth. When you renovate your home for your own enjoyment, you're building a lifestyle upgrade, not necessarily an investment. And that's completely fine. Your home is where your life happens. You should enjoy it. Think of it like this. Are you solving for X or Y? You can solve for lifestyle and have some residual investment benefit, or you can solve for sale price like flippers do and get some residual lifestyle benefits. The problem is when those two things get confused, or worse, and happens way more often when you renovate for enjoyment and just assume or hope you'll recover the cost when you sell with nothing but hope to back it up. And that's where that gap lives. So what are the projects that hurt you most? Well, the luxury upgrades in a non-luxury neighborhood, the chef's kitchen in a starter home area, or a high-end primary suite in a neighborhood that doesn't support those prices. You've lifted your house above what buyers in that market will pay. The highly personal improvement, the home theater, the elaborate built-in system, the outdoor space designed entirely how you specifically live. These are expensive expressions of your taste, and the market for your specific taste is smaller than you think. And the improvement that removes something that buyers expect. The garage that became a gym, the bedroom that became a closet. You added something you love while subtracting what buyers actually need. The best practices is this. If you're thinking about renovating, sure, meet with a contractor and designer, but also meet with a good realtor. Ask them what they think your project will do to your home's value, and then make your decision. And by the way, tell the realtor you're not planning on selling for a few years. A great realtor will still gladly tell you what it's worth. Great realtors play the long game. They're happy to build goodwill before you need them. And if you don't know a great realtor, I'm happy to connect you with one in your city. I'm part of an outstanding network of realtors across the continent. Reach out below. And if I could get back in a time machine, here's what I would have told 2019 Juliette. I would have given her the honest return on that $80,000 kitchen. Based upon her specific neighborhood and the factors we just covered, a renovation like that would likely increase her home's value by around $30,000. Which means her kitchen was a $50,000 vanity project, and it only put $30,000 back in her pocket the day she sells, minus depreciation as her new kitchen ages. Then I would have told her to scale back. A smart $25,000 to $35,000 updated kitchen, tasteful, high quality, modern enough to make her happy every single day, would still get much of a kitchen that she loves. Then I tell her to take the money she saved and use it to bring the bathrooms up to the same level, handle any deferred maintenance, and get the rest of the house telling the same story. And most importantly, I would have told her this. It is okay to renovate for your life. Love the house while you live in it, just never confuse a personal upgrade with a financial investment, because the market won't honor that math when it comes time to sell. That single mindset shift, knowing what you're buying before you buy it, would have saved her a lot of money and a ton of regret. That's what eyes wide open looks like, and that's exactly what Juliette didn't have in 2019. When I tell homeowners this, about half of them accept the vanity cost, and the others scale back their grandiose remodeling plans. When people know the honest truth of the implications of their renovations, they can go in eyes wide open, and when they decide to sell, they've already made peace with their decision. So many sellers like Juliette have such a hard time because it's a hard truth to swallow. You spent $80,000 and you missed a huge blind spot. Back to Juliette. I gave it to her straight. I gave her the price that I think we could sell her house for in that market. And it was $50,000 lower than any other realtor had listed it for. And I told her her house probably wouldn't sell unless she did so. So she hired another realtor. It sat for 3 months at a much higher price. Finally, she lowered the price by $80,000. And what do you know? It finally sold. She got a fair number for her market, not what she had hoped for, because what she had hoped for was based on what she put in, not what the market was willing to pay. Now, renovation ROI is just one facet of a much bigger topic. The decisions that homeowners make without thinking about future sale are everywhere. The renovation that removes a bedroom, the addition that doesn't pull a permit, the deferred maintenance that becomes a disclosure problem, the improvement that made sense for your life, and 0 cents for resale. And we are going to cover it all. That's what this series is for. Every video is one more decision you'll be glad to understand before you made it, or before your kids have to deal with it. Subscribe if you don't want to find out the hard way, because the market is not going to warn you. But I will.